G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive, powered by betfair.com.au and puntingform.com.au. Betfair is where we bet, and you can use Betfair Live to see what the market does real late. All the bookies punch it back through there. It's the most relevant piece of information you get from the market late. And punting form, where they clock them all for us and tell us who run what times and what races, how races were run, etc., etc. We're going to break down the data and we're going to look at some of the betting. I thought we'd start, Peter, with the Showdown, which was the weakest race on the card to the clock.
Yep. Race 6, that was. If you want to go off the class, they've gone even, 1 length fast to the 600, but you're an all-average adjusted figure man, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and in the end, the winner has clocked the, I guess you would say, the worst or the slowest winning figure of the day.
Only 0.3 lengths slower than the time that Florent won the Guineas in. And it's actually the equal slowest time of the day was the benchmark 78. So that shows you where these sort of VOBIS races are at. I think it's a good scheme if you own one or you breed one in Victoria, but it's only a good scheme because you can get a lot of money for pretty slow horses. I don't think you can learn a lot from either of, especially race 6. I don't think any of them will be worth following. A bit like the race last year, where we saw the winner head off to Hong Kong and almost nothing come out of that race. So I think similar lines this year. Race 1, Peter, let's get back to what we normally talk about on the show recently. My pet hate at the moment. We saw a change of tactics for Simply Optimistic, who was half slaughtered at Bendigo, well backed, was half well backed here. And the change of tactics to be ridden more forward. The horse jumped cleanly and was snicked to be worse than midfield. And then sort of because it was snicked originally, it was forced to be snicked again to avoid heels at the 1,000 and then again at the 700. So the original snickerage caused 2 times more snicking. The horse was essentially therefore given none. It was mentioned in the Stewards report that there was a change of tactics, but nothing was enforced that they didn't actually ride to this change of tactics. And it just continues the fast and piss take that the change of tactics rule is and improves it. It's totally irrelevant and just noise, which just graze up punters who are trying to speed map races. This rule needs to go or you need to enforce it, one or the other. But this is just absolute joke. The horse jumped with them. Go and watch the replay if you think I'm lying. Staying with Simply Optimistic, I do think the horse is probably ready to win now next start. And it probably was ready to win at Caulfield if put into the race. I thought it got through the line nicely and can be followed, even though it's only a benchmark 78 punter. So it needs to be placed well. Race 3, Pippi. Oh, Pippi. Pippi went 8 lengths faster to the 800 than she did in the Group 1 William Reid pistol.
Yeah, it's still only even, though. It's,
4 lengths slower than she went in the Group 1 Oakley Plate previous. Mainstream sort of went at similar splits to what it did in the Oakley Plate, just wasn't as far back and was able to sort of be there or thereabouts and put them away. And it was a fair track on Saturday. I thought Caulfield raced really well and they did a good job with it. Street Icon put in a really, really well-rounded and pretty strong performance here. Yeah. It's almost a group performance, I thought. What about you?
Yeah, massive splits late. I mean, those splits...
Off a good early tempo.
Yeah. Even for the class here, and those splits you'd be able to follow with some level of confidence if it gets the right race shape there next start, for sure.
And I think we should make mention of Nick Noonan's trial reports, $10 a week. He penned Pippi in the trial report. So this is like a $2 favourite on a Saturday, and he penned it off the trial, and he was right. It was a pretty big effort, and I'm very, very proud of him.
Yep.
You should try it if you haven't tried it. Race 4, Peter. This is a bit different to the clock as it sort of looked to the eye, I thought.
Yeah, they've gone very fast.
They went really quick here.
Yeah, very fast for the class, 6.3 lengths fast to the 600. In terms of the overall adjusted figures, well, Sentimentalist has recorded just shy of the best figure of the day, the best winning figure. So, yeah, your thoughts? Obviously, Mr. Khoekhoe was one that appealed to you, and obviously there was just heaps of cash traded backwards and forwards on the horse, over 600,000.
What'd the market do with it late? It crunched it late.
Yeah, continued to firm those last couple of minutes. Yeah, $2 into a low of $1.93, and that's where it jumped.
It had 61 kilos and it still clocked the fastest last everything inside this race.
Mm.
I just think with the race shape and the way the race was run, just made it almost impossible for him to reel them all in.
Yep.
Especially, and interestingly, Mr. Quickie improved its Doncaster figure, where it ran 10 lengths above the all average, and it's run a 12.7 here. So it's Mr. Cookie's gone enormous. What we didn't account for, Peter, was Sentimentalist, who improved its figure race to race. So from its last start to this start by 15.9 lengths. That's unbelievable.
It's good.
It's run a 13.2. Its previous peak was 3 preps ago and was a 5.2 above the all average benchmark.
So, yep. So eight lengths improvement 3 years ago. Yeah, sounds about right.
The horse has just started being trained by Mark Pegas and has improved the 5-year-old by at least 8 lengths on its previous ever best. So Pegas can train. They really can jump out of the ground for Pegas. Very big effort. The other monstrous training performance, Peter, on the card was Florent.
Yeah.
Wow. A. Noonan got Florent to improve by 16.9 lengths in 3 days.
Love the quick backup, though.
3 days earlier, it went around a $21 chance in a benchmark 64 at Geelong, where he snicked it heavy to be last on a walking tempo, closed off really nicely in a benchmark 64. She settled 11 of 11 there. Start prior, she settled 12 of 13. Caulfield, however, settled 6 of 15. I went back and looked because surely there'd be a change of tactics. No, there wasn't. Now, am I bagging Noonan and the camp? No, I'm not. Great ride, great training performance, beautiful setup. But I'm bagging this stupid rule because you're entitled to think as a punter, this horse is not going to be better than midfield, given its last 2 starts, it was near last. And given that nothing's run on from last throughout the whole previous 8 races at Caulfield, you're entitled to pen this horse. Despite giving it maybe 8 lengths to improve off its 3-day backup, might be spiking here. Sickening rule, needs to go. And race 9 just in itself, I think, was a bit of a joke.
Look, slow tempo, 3.9 lengths slow to the 600 for the class. Florent was trucking on the corner, though. Like, it was absolutely bolting.
Yeah, I agree. It made Ocular look sort of second rate. I think Ocular was given every possible by D Dunn.
Yep.
Much improved ride from what it copped, or the tactics. I'm not bagging the jockey at Sandown. It was the tactics of the stable. I'm not convinced it wants 1,600. I think it might be sharper and more dynamic over 1,400. It still improved its overall figure by 2.3 lengths and got through the line reasonably, but it was I thought it and Florent were in the perfect spots in run.
Yep.
And the way the race set up and the track played, I think horses are fair to remember. Moonlight Maid, Be Hunter, and Don't Tell the Boss couldn't win, and all ran really well considering can all be followed out of the race.
Yeah, well, I guess they're probably going to, well, in particular, Moonlight Maid and Affair to Remember are probably going to clash in a few weeks, hopefully.
I'll be interested where Be Hunter goes. If it goes a different direction from the other 4, or even if Don't Tell the Boss and Be Hunter goes somewhere, I'd happily back both.
Yep.
As far as Affair to Remember and Moonlight Maid, just see who's riding Moonlight Maid, I guess, if they both go to the Australasian Oaks. But I think you can... We know Moonlight Maid stays.
Yep.
We don't know about Affair to Remember yet.
No, but it's probably a little bit tricky trying to gauge too much from that very slow tempo up front, isn't it? But having said that,
that's sort of what I'm saying. Trust the SPs. I thought B Hunter was very good in the worst growing.
Yep.
And I thought Don't Tell the Boss, like all day. We should mention we're sort of very forgiving of horses which were rails in run.
Yep.
So Don't Tell the Boss was the like in the worst going on Saturday, and it was a big performance, I thought.
Yeah, really big split from the 400 to the 200, as did most of the field. But I'm particularly looking at horses that were better than the rest of the race, which puntingform.com.au allows you to do.
All right, anything else out of the day we want to talk about?
Look, it's the end of the Sydney Carnival was probably, for me, it was my favourite day of betting. I thought there were some of the more interesting moves that we saw throughout the carnival there. In particular, the race featuring Quick Thinker. That was, for me, one of the more interesting betting moves in that race. We saw money coming for both Canane and Chuck-a-Luck.
It was an error on your behalf and my behalf as a team. We should have pulled the trigger much earlier. When we found those horses on Thursday morning.
Yep.
That still shits me.
Yeah, it was one of those where basically a bet on Thursday became a no bet on Saturday because the market had already zeroed in. And as you said, we had found both at a double figure quote at that stage and both halved in price. So,
yeah, shit me that.
It's one of those where you want to lay the current price available. In fact, there was a few of the horses that we identified, Quick Thinker and Shared Ambition, basically doubled in price from when we did the preview on Thursday. And you can't lay them at that price, but you can certainly back ones that you like. So, yeah, potentially we might have to start investing in, well, hopefully there'll be a few franchises.
Pulling the trigger a bit quicker.
Yeah. And, ideally we get some bricks and mortar TABs open a little bit, sooner rather than later. We'll put it that way.
100%. Out of the Caulfield meeting, punters, I thought you can follow two horses, Simply Optimistic and Knowles. I thought Knowles was very good in the inside part of the track where I didn't want to be on Saturday.
Yep.
Moving forward, Peter, anything else we should cover? I'm looking forward to listening to the Sin City podcast this week because poor old Scurry was just torched by. Well, I don't think he made many mistakes, but he was against Hugh when Hugh rode well, and he was with Hugh when Hugh slaughtered them, and it was just mentally would have been tough.
It's a
why he landed 3 pairs back the fence on Kementari, I'll never know.
Yeah. But his ride on Raniere in the last was vintage.
Thing of beauty.
Absolute perfection right there. So, just to blow everyone out of the quaddie, just magnificent. Mind you, if we did a quaddie, we would have had it. So anyway, play on. Week ahead, we're coming up in towards Warrnambool as well. Excited?
How far away is that? 2 weeks, yeah. I'm looking forward to Bendigo on Wednesday, to be honest. But the bull will be fun. I think we've got something good planned, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So stay tuned for that.